Hello, this is Cindy from Studio Kitsch Design. Since Halloween is just around the corner, I thought it would be fun to create a potion bottle. I had so much fun creating this, and I hope it'll inspire you to not only create this potion bottle, but experiment with different shapes and sizes. Let's get started. I'm here in Procreate, and I've already created a 12 by 12 inch document, and I like to use a resolution of 300 dpi. I've also created a color palette to go along with this video, and you can find that along with some other great goodies in the freebie section on studiokitsch.com. You'll find a link in the description below. Let's go ahead and grab the black color from the palette. It's really more of a dark charcoal gray. I tend to use dark charcoal as opposed to solid black. And I've already grabbed a mono style brush. So I'll start by drawing a really chunky oval shape. And I'm going to hold it so that it triggers the quick shape, and then I can tap Edit Shape and modify and resize it. And then I'll just grab the color and drop it into the shape to fill it in. Next, I'll tap on the Move tool and make it a bit smaller. Now in the Layers panel, tap the plus to create a new layer, and this time draw a skinny sideways oval shape at the base of the big oval. Tap on Edit Shape to modify it. And then we can drop the color in to fill it in. And you can get the Move tool and move it into better position if needed. Now in the Layers panel, tap on the layer and select Merge Down. And then create a new layer. And we want to draw a small square at the top of our bottle. Tap Edit Shape to modify, and remember it doesn't have to be perfect. And then use Color Drop to fill it in, and I'll use the Move tool to position it. Now in the Layers panel, let's tap on the layer and merge the two layers. Create a new layer, and now draw another small sideways skinny oval shape to become the lip of the bottle. Tap Edit to modify it. Then drag and drop the color to fill it in. Grab the Move tool to reposition it. And in the Layers panel, let's swipe to the left and tap Duplicate. Now get the Move tool and move the shape up so that it's resting on top of the original shape. And we can merge our two ovals together. Then get the Move tool and position it till you're happy with it. And then you can merge the two remaining layers together. Okay, so it's turned out to be a little too big, so I'm going to get the Move tool and resize it. Okay, that looks good. Now let's create a new layer, and then let's get the light purple color from our palette, and we'll draw another oval to create the label. Tap on Edit to modify the shape, and then drop in color to fill it in. I'll get the Move tool to make it a bit smaller and center it as best as I can. Let's go ahead and create a new layer. Open the color palette and grab the tan cork color. And we want to draw a funky cork shape. That looks good. So I'll go ahead and drop in color to fill it in. And I'll grab the Move tool to move it into a better position. And then in the Layers panel, I'll drag the cork layer down below the potion bottle. Next, create a new layer and select Clipping Mask. And in the color palette, choose the really light tan color. And let's go ahead and open up the brush panel. We're going to use a Procreate default brush from their sketching brushes called Bonobo Chalk. And let's just add a little bit to the top left to add some highlights. Next, let's choose the caramel color from our palette and add some shading to the left side of our cork. Okay, let's create a new layer, and this time we'll use the burnt tree brush from the default charcoal brushes. Let's go back to the layer in the layers panel and choose clipping mask. And we just want to add a bit of this texture to our cork. Now in the layers panel, tap on the end to the right of the layer to get to the blend modes and choose darker color and lower the opacity to around 62%. Create a new layer and let's grab the darker caramel color from our palette. And then in the brush panel, let's go to the default elements brushes and choose the water brush. Let's go back into our layers panel and make sure to choose clipping mask for our layer. And we'll want to use just a soft touch when adding this brush. And this is going to really give us kind of that cracked, corky texture. Okay, let's create a new layer. Then choose clipping mask. And this time we'll use the driven snow brush from the elements brush set. And we don't need to use much of this brush, just a little bit. And then go into the layers panel and change the blend mode to linear burn and lower the opacity to about 59%. And now our cork is done. Let's go ahead and swipe right on all the cork layers and group those together. That will make it much easier to move our cork if we need to. Next, let's grab the gray from our color palette and in the layers panel, create a new layer right above the potion bottle and add a clipping mask. And I'm going to add some texture to the potion bottle using the delicious texture brushes from Lisa Glanz. I'll use her powder brush first to add some subtle texture to the bottle. That looks pretty good, so now I'll lower the opacity to about 39% in the layers panel. This creates a frosted effect. Let's select our label layer in the layers panel and then create a new layer right above it. And then make sure to select clipping mask. Now let's open our colors and choose the dark purple color from our color palette. And I'm just using the same powder brush to add some subtle texture over the label. Now let's open the brush library and choose Lisa's Smoky Shader brush and add some shading on the left side of our label. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with how that looks. Now I've created some lettering that you can grab from my website for free. I'll leave a link in the description below the video. So let's go out to the gallery and go ahead and open the lettering. And then open the layers panel and tap on the layer and select copy from the menu. Now we can go back out to the gallery and open our potion document. Now tap on the wrench and choose add and then paste. Get the move tool and move into position on top of your label. In the layers panel, tap to open the background layer and choose the blue from the palette. This just makes our potion bottle pop. Okay, it looks like we need to move our potion bottle down a bit, so swipe right on all the layers in the layers panel and then get the move tool and move it down. Okay, we're going to need a new layer at the top of our layers panel. And then let's grab the dark charcoal from our palette. And I'm going to use the Spidey brush from my Hocus Pocus brush set. I'll go ahead and stamp him on the label. And I'm going to get the move tool and move him into position. And we're going to need to add some white to the whites of his eyes. So let's create a new layer and then move it underneath him. And let's grab white from our color palette. And I'll use a mono style brush to color those eyes in. And I'm going to zoom in and make sure I've filled it all in. And now we can merge those two layers together in the layers panel. And then swipe left to duplicate the layer. Get the move tool and rotate and resize. And then go ahead and make one more duplicate copy, move up, and resize and rotate if you would like. Okay, let's go ahead and create another new layer and grab the dark charcoal from our palette. And our spiders need a home, so I'm going to add a spider web from my spooky watercolor brush set. I'm just going to stamp it on top of my label. Oops, my layer is underneath my bottle, so that's not going to work. So I'll just move my layer up and then go ahead and stamp it on top of my label and move it into position. And it looks like it's under the shading, so I'm going to move that up above the shading layer in the layers panel. And it should automatically clip it to your layer since it's right above a layer that already has a clipping mask. And I'll move it into position with the move tool. It's hard for me to stop fiddling. And let's go ahead and select the top layer, which is the spider, and then create a new layer and then choose the cream color from the color palette. Now to finish up, let's add a bit of magic using my Spellbound brushes. I'll be using the Enchanted brush, and I'll just use it as if it was a paintbrush. And then in the layers panel, let's move that layer down underneath the potion bottle. Okay, let's create a final new layer at the top of our layers panel, and then just add a touch more of the Enchanted brush to the front of the potion bottle. And we're done! I hope you've had as much fun as I have, and I can't wait to see your potion bottle creations. See you next time!